Good morning. Welcome back into Wake Up America. I'm Rob Finnerty. As we've been covering throughout the morning, all eyes on the Supreme Court today after Justice Brett Kavanaugh's life was threatened by a would-be assassin. For more, let's welcome in the Vice Chairman of the House Republican Conference, senior member of the House Judiciary Committee, and former constitutional and pro-life litigator, Louisiana Congressman Mike Johnson, back with us this morning. Congressman, good to see you again. Glad you could be with us. I wish it were under different circumstances, but we're learning more about this 26-year-old would-be killer. He had a backpack with him when he stepped out of a taxi cab in front of Justice Kavanaugh's home. It was packed with a pistol, 2 magazines, ammo, pepper spray, a tactical knife, zip ties, duct tape, a hammer, and a screwdriver. The Senate passed a bill unanimously to give judges better protection when they're not at their homes, when they're outside their homes. Nancy Pelosi has yet to bring this to the floor for a vote. Why?
That is a great question, Rob. We have an outrageous and now a dangerous situation, and the House leadership, the Democrats in charge here, are doing nothing about it. It sends a clear message to the criminals who are engaging in this activity. And by the way, every single person who is protesting outside the homes of these justices right now, as we speak, is a criminal. Remember, it is a federal law that you are not able to do this. 18 U.S.C. 1507 says clearly you can't parade or protest outside the home of a justice to try to influence their opinion. And that is exactly what they're doing. And now their lives are in danger. It is outrageous that Speaker Pelosi will not move the bill. Remember, it passed through the Senate unanimously. This is not a controversial thing. They need protection, and the Department of Justice and the House leadership is doing nothing about it.
Not to mention, we have no idea where Justice Kavanaugh falls on this particular issue. All we have is a leaked draft decision. We don't have the final decision. We don't know how he's going to rule on Roe v. Wade. Okay, here we go. 5 weeks. I couldn't believe, I looked at it this morning. We have to go back to the beginning of May when this thing was originally leaked, this draft decision, over 5 weeks ago. We still have no idea who the leaker is. And you and a group of your colleagues, House Republicans, have introduced a bill to make leaks like this a federal crime. Do you expect any bipartisan support with a bill like this? And if not, why not?
Another great question, Rob. These are not rhetorical questions. They're important ones. We need Democrats to join us in this very logical step. This has been a direct assault on the independence of the judiciary. Our constitutional system and the rule of law depend upon the independence of our judges, who are not subject to the whims of public pressure to the political process. So we filed the Leaker Accountability Act, and it would make it a federal crime punishable by up to 5 years in prison for anyone to knowingly leak or to share confidential information of the Supreme Court. We have to take these measures now. We're in uncharted waters as a nation right now. There's never been anything like this. It's unprecedented, and it's dangerous, not only to the lives of the judges themselves, the justices who sit on that court, but to our overall system of justice. And the Congress needs to act and do what we can to begin to rebuild the credibility and the safety of this institution.
Congressman, who do you think the leaker is?
I think my view is it's got to be one of the liberal law clerks. It's a very small number of persons, probably limited to about a dozen folks who are very likely to have been the ones to leak it. The problem is right now, the Chief Justice of the Court, Chief Justice Roberts, has appointed the marshal of the court to do the investigation. And that's an office that doesn't have any background in investigations. So they haven't made any progress so far as we can tell. They're talking about now getting the data from the cell phones of some of these clerks, but this needs to happen immediately. We need to identify who this person is. We have to make absolutely sure that this never happens again. This is a dangerous time and a dangerous situation.
There were protests. Again, you referenced that code 18 U.S. 1507. There were protests last night outside judges' homes. There are scheduled protests tonight. We know because the group Ruth sent us posts about it on Twitter. Those posts are rarely, if ever, taken down, by the way, or flagged. It is a federal crime to protest outside the home of a Supreme Court justice. Why isn't the DOJ involved? Why isn't every one of these protesters arrested?
Again, great question. We filed a resolution within days of the leak last month. A number of House Republicans joined on and co-sponsoring that, and all of them would vote on it if it were brought to the floor today, to call upon the Department of Justice to do its job. The Attorney General, Merrick Garland, remember, he was supposed to be a justice on the court. That's who the left wanted on the court. He would need protection himself. Why in the world he will not simply enforce the law that's already on the books is beyond us. It sends a message that this is acceptable behavior, and they are encouraging it. And let's not forget, Senator Schumer went on the steps of the Supreme Court and called out Justices Gorsuch and Kavanaugh by name and told them that they were releasing the whirlwind and they would pay the price. This is on their hands. The leadership, the Democrats in Washington are encouraging this, and they're responsible for it.
Yeah, and by the way, Justice Kavanaugh was home with his wife and 2 young daughters when this guy got out of that taxi cab, this 26-year-old would-be assassin. Congressman Mike Johnson, great to see you again. Thanks so much for coming on. We appreciate it.
Thanks, Rob.
Hey, I'm Rob Finnerty. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please join the conversation in the comments below. Don't forget to subscribe, too. Hit the bell icon to be alerted to breaking news. And remember, there's a whole lot more on Newsmax TV, America's fastest growing cable news network. Newsmax TV, we're real news for real people.